Right, so now kita tengok what are the determinants ataupun faktor yang menyebabkan demand yang menyebabkan supply curve to shift. Right, kalau dalam textbook ada 6, ya, ataupun apa sahaja relevant faktor pun boleh dimasukkan selain daripada apa yang ada dalam textbook dan slides. Okay, so the first one adalah cost of production. So what is this cost of production? So it represent the price of factors of production. So price of factor of production ni apa? Wages, interest, apa lagi? Kita ada rental payment. So that is what we call as the price of factors of production, atau kita simply kata cost of production. So now when the price of factors of production increases, let's say when the wages increases, the cost of production, yeah, for the supplier or for the producer will increase, sebab dia kena bayar gaji pekerja dia dengan mahal. So bila wage increase, cost increase, then the supply of the goods will decrease. Sebab bila cost meningkat, supplier akan kurangkan supply sebab dia nak cut cost. Right, so the supply will decrease and the supply curve will shift to the left, and vice versa. Maksudnya when cost of production reduce, which is for example price of wages, when the wages reduce, cost reduce, the supply will increase and the supply curve shift to the right. Itu the first factor. Secondly is price of related goods ataupun price of other goods, ya, iaitu ada dua jenis barang, substitutes dengan complementary goods. So apa itu substitute goods? Kalau substitute goods kita panggil sebagai competitive supply. Kalau complementary goods kita panggil sebagai joint supply. So kita tengok dulu joint supply lah ataupun complementary goods. For example, when price of beef increases, yeah, so there will be more supply of beef, kan, yeah? Supply of beef will be increase. Therefore, the supply of leather will also increase. Nampak tak? Indirectly, when price of beef increase, the supply of leather will also increase. Maksudnya dekat sini harga beef naik, ya, supplier akan jual banyak beef dan at the same time dia akan menggunakan leather, dia akan menggunakan kulit untuk supply dengan lebih banyak. Kulit itu digunakan untuk supply dengan lebih banyak. Maksudnya dekat sini sebab beef dengan leather ni adalah contohnya lembu, kita sembelih lembu, kita akan dapat dagingnya dan kita akan jual juga kulitnya pada masa yang sama. Itulah maksudnya joint supply. And for competitive supply ataupun substitute goods, for example here, when the price of a hybrid car increases, yeah, price of hybrid car increases, the supply of normal car will reduce. Kenapa? So when price of hybrid car increases, people will supplier ataupun producer will supply more hybrid car sebab dia akan dapat lebih banyak keuntungan. Then normal car yang tak ada hybrid ni, the supply will reduce. Okay, so nak senang faham, awak terus ambil dia punya contoh supaya awak senang nak explain nanti. Okay, seterusnya technology. Yeah, so when there is technology, when there is sophisticated machinery being used in the production process, so that it will reduce the cost of labor, betul tak? So when we use more technology, more machinery, the cost of production will reduce. So when there is more technology, cost reduce, supplier will supply more goods and services, and vice versa. Alright, so seterusnya government and economic policy. Alright, so what will be the government policy? Refers to sama ada government impose taxation ataupun give subsidy. Right, so when government impose taxation, so dekat sini kita kata indirect tax. Indirect tax ni apa? Goods and Services Tax ataupun kita panggil sekarang SST, Sales and Services Tax. So when sales and services tax increases, cost will increase sebab producer kena bayar tax. Jadi supply of goods and services will decrease. So when tax increase, cost increase, supply will decrease. Okay, and vice versa. What about subsidy? So subsidy is given to producer by government to encourage supply. Selalunya government bagi subsidi kepada siapa? Kepada farmers lah, those who engage in agriculture sector. So when government gives subsidy, cost akan reduce and it will encourage producer to produce more goods and services, and supply of goods and services will increase. That is how we explain for government and economic policy. Then expectation, expectation, the higher the expected future price, the lower will be the current supply. Sebab apa? Kalau contohnya the producer expect the price of car will increase next year, then they will supply less car today lah this year, sebab dia nak dapat untung lebih banyak next year. Ataupun when they expect the price of house will reduce next year, so they will supply ataupun produce more houses this year supaya dapat lebih untung this year. Okay, and the last one is number of supplier. So when the number of supplier increases, of course the supply of goods and services will also increase. Ataupun number of entrepreneur increases in the country, the supply of goods and services will increase. So yang ini faktor-faktor yang akan menyebabkan supply to change ataupun shift to the supply curve.